Kaman TV, the Tourist Man Back Africa. Remember to join this channel, ladies and gentlemen. I'm waiting for you to join. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kaman TV, and we are live. We are coming to you live. Ladies and gentlemen, join us in our channel. Feel free. I know most of you are taking supper. For those of you who are in Kenya, good evening. Those of you who are in America, I think it is good morning. And feel free to join us, because here we discuss politics as it should be. Karibu, kindly register your presence by liking this video or maybe commenting. Feel free to comment, those of you who are joining us. This is Kaman TV, the Tourist Man Back Africa, coming to you live from Nairobi, Kenya. I can see the number is increasing. Earlier today, ladies and gentlemen, I appealed to the subscribers and members of this channel to support a lady who was actually admitted in Saudi Arabia, and the response I can see is good. People are responding. Naona watu bado walikuwa wanatuma pesa. I gave my number there in the other video. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining us here, feel free to comment. Let me know ni akina nani tuko nao. I can only see the number. It is increasing one by one. And I appealed to you to help Florence, who was hospitalized in Saudi Arabia. And I was happy, Ruby Ore Sampine, Rugai locked. Hey, Skyman, Karibu, Ruby, thank you. So for those of you who supported Florence, she is still in hospital, and I'm happy that you appealed to, or you responded positively to my call. Continue sending until this girl is out of hospital. Now, the family is in distress and want her back home in Kenya. And what happened is that, Saudi Arabia kule watu wanaenda. Alienda pale, and wakati alienda pale, kafanyia Mwarabu kazi, then she had stroke, and then she was abandoned in the hospital. And the hospital bill was going all the way to 0.8 M. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who can support Florence, continue supporting her. I give out my number, and I am in touch with the family. In fact, some people who are in Saudi, walienda pale when they had this, and they went there in hospital, and they have talked to me, and my number is 0725 909 870. 0725 909 870. You can send something, whatever you think is important. Even 100 bob, by the way, it will go a long way. You can imagine 2,000 people sending 100 bob each. That is 200,000, and you can actually bail out that girl and bring her back to Kenya for treatment, kwa sababu kule ameachiliwa tu pale, madaktari ndio wako pale, lakini I can tell you she's suffering. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for supporting Florence Wajiro. Was Wajiko for that case. She comes from Muranga. I was in contact with the mother who is in Maroroi. I was also in contact with the sister. And when they called me, and there's nothing I could have done much other than to appeal to people, because when I was shown even the photos of her in hospital in Saudi Arabia, it touched me, ladies and gentlemen, because sometimes we go out of our way. When I am here, I am your vessel, and you can use me to achieve or to help you raise issues, because some of the things that we get, by the way, mambo mengine tunapata kutoka kwa hata watu ambao wako katika serikali. Would you imagine? Some of them cannot be able to raise the issues. Ladies and gentlemen, for those who are joining us, feel free. This is Kaman TV, the Tourist Man Back Africa. Here we discuss politics. I want us to look at a number of issues. The first issue I want us to look at today is hii mambo ya KERA, Kenya Rural Roads Authority. They gave out tenders for the various roads, and it was very, very interesting when I look at that list of the number of kilometers that will be tarmacked by Kera. It was shocking. I want to go through the various counties and the number of kilometers that will be tarmacked by Kera. And let's look at, I want us to pay attention, close very attention to Azimio strongholds and Kenya Kwanza stronghold. Murang'a will have 41.5 kilometers tarmacked. Nyeri, that is Gachagua home, will have 65.5 kilometers tarmacked. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this? Because from Kera, kile ambacho tunaona ni kwamba Nyeri is going to have the longest tarmac. I think tarmac itawekwa nyingi sana kule upande wa Nyeri, more than any other county, because Kera will tarmac 65.5 kilometers. Kiambu, that 6.7 kilometers. Nyandarua, 25 kilometers. Nakuru, 52.5 kilometers. Embu, 8 kilometers. Look at this. Kirinyaga, 1.8 kilometers. That is where Mother Karua's homestead, or Mother Karua's county. Can you imagine? 1.8 kilometers. What does this mean, ladies and gentlemen? Compare this to Nyeri, that will have 65.5 kilometers of road tarmac. Now, what are you telling us? That you are going to tarmac 1.5 kilometers of road in Nyeri? It is not good, ladies and gentlemen. Laikipia, 15.7. Because when you look at it, for example, if you look at Mount Kenya, I think Nyandarua deserves more roads than Nyeri and any other county in Mount Kenya, because this is one of the counties that have been abandoned by successive governments. Now, let's go to Elgeyo Marakwet, that is Kipchumba Murkomen's county. That 1.5 kilometers of road will be tarmacked by Kera. Taita Taveta, 15 kilometers. Kericho, 13 kilometers. Trans Nzoia, 17 kilometers. West Pokot will have 15 kilometers of road tarmacked. Barigo, 2.1 kilometers. Why 2.1 kilometers? Ladies and gentlemen, what is this? Sieri kukaa jameni. Then Bungoma, very interesting, 0.3 kilometers. Huku ni kwa Papa Roma. 0.3 kilometers, that's 300 meters. Ni mahali ambapo unaweza tupa jiwe. Sasa hii ni ya nini jameni nikiuliza? Busia, 8 kilometers. This is contempt, if you ask me. William Samoei Ruto wants the votes of the Western nation, but when it comes to tarmacking of the roads, he can only give Bungoma 0.3 kilometers for a whole financial year. And Busia, 8 kilometers. Garissa, I think, is the one that is following Nyeri, because it has 54.8 kilometers. Migori, but then Migori has the highest, the longest tarmac, because it is 80 kilometers. And I think William Samoei Ruto is very much interested in Migori. He thinks that he can win Migori. He thinks that he can win the people of Migori. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Do you think that William Samoei Ruto can win the support of the Migori people by tarmacking 80 kilometers of his road and 0.3 kilometers of Bungoma and 1.8 kilometers of Kirinyaga County? Jeff, karibu na kuona pale, listening from the border of Uganda. Karibu huko kwenu Busia. Jeff, naona mtawekewa Busia, tumeona 8 kilometers of tarmac road. That is what you get through Kera as per the current financial year. If you have any complaint, maybe you can put it here. Maybe labda Kipchumba Murkomen anaweza kuwa hapa anaiweza kuiona. Look at it again. Machakos, 4 kilometers, imagine. This is Azimio. And Meru, 39 kilometers. Nairobi, not Nandi, Nairobi, 1.3 kilometers of roads will be tarmacked. And Narok, 46 kilometers. However, there are some counties that will not get anything. Kera is not going to tarmac even a kilometer of the foreign counties. We start with Kisumu. Kisumu is only a bridge. Kera will build a bridge for the whole of the financial year. Others are Homa Bay, nothing. Siaya, 0. Makueni, 0. Kisumu, I've said it's a bridge. Nyamira, 0. Isiolo, 0. Mombasa, 0. When you look at these countries that are not receiving anything, one thing is very clear, that these are Azimio strongholds. So you can see when Gachagua says that this is a government of shareholders, it is true. It is a government of shareholders. Abdullahi, what about Madeira and Wajir, Skyman? Madeira, I think, is getting 0. Wajir, 5 kilometers. Garissa, 54.8 kilometers. And Joe Che, dude, I love your show. Thank you. Thank you, Anjo, karibu, karibu. So what we are saying is that when Gachagua tells that this is a government of shareholders, for sure it is a government of shareholders. How do you explain 1.8 kilometers of tarmac road for a whole financial year in Kirinyaga? How do you explain this? How do you explain that Kirinyaga 1.8 and Nyeri, the neighboring county, 65 kilometers? How do you explain this, ladies and gentlemen? How do you explain? Kwa sababu unapotazama vizuri sana utaona kwamba Mount Kenya inapata rami itawekwa kwigi compared to other places. If you add the number of kilometers that to be put in Mount Kenya counties, Murang'a 41, Nyeri 65, Kiambu 36, Nyandarua 25, Nakuru 52, Embu 8, Kirinyaga 1.8. You see, the coverage in Mount Kenya will be longer than many other parts of the country. So Thomas, Kisii and Nyamira watching from Houston. Kisii tumeona kule imepotea kabisa. Nyamira kwanza tumeona ni 0. Nyamira tumeona kama ni 0. It is very, very funny. That is Kenya kwanza for you. Na ukiwatazama vizuri utaona kwamba ni watu wako tu pale. They just want to show that they are there. Lakini kusema kweli, we are not getting our fair share of what we expect. Something else that happened today is about David D. You know, David D is the economic advisor of William Samoei Ruto. And David D has been misadvising the president. David D is the worst advisor one would actually have. David D was chased from Rwanda. Yes, he was chased by Kagame. He was also shown the door by Mwai Kibaki because this man, his advice don't add up. By the way, do you know that this is a man who came up with the bottom economic up model? Something that doesn't work. So the same David D today tweeted this, that he is not going to support or take a collective responsibility on lies, taking the public for fools, corruption, and vomiting on people's shoes. That is what he said. So if I might ask, ladies and gentlemen, who was being addressed here? Is it not William Samoei Ruto? Because he said he is not going to take collective responsibility on lies. Ni nani adaganya? Simesikia siku hizi watu wanasema Ruto lies. And all the time, Ruto lies. And that is his nature. Hivyo ndivyo watu wanasema siku hizi, sio maneno yangu, lakini hivyo ndivyo, hiyo ndio gumzo huko mitaani. Sijui huko kwenu kama umesikia hilo nini? Umesikia huko kwenu? Joshi, karibu, Bukwa na Kakamega je. Kakamega hata haijatajwa. So what we are saying here is that David D alijitoa, ni kama anajitoa kwa serikali. When you look at it, something is happening. There could be there could be fire in State House. Kwa sababu you see one day wakati upepo utavuma, the wind will blow and it will expose the anus of the chicken. And this is what is happening in State House. The wind is howling. The wind is blowing. Margaret Akola, karibu. Nairobi, God in control. Yeah, imepewa 0.3 kilometers in Nairobi. So what we are saying here is that David D, huyu ndiye ambaye anakaa karibu sana na William Samoei Ruto, because he's the one who keeps on advising anything about the economy. He's the economic advisor. And now he is telling, I think he's telling William Samoei Ruto that he is not going to take collective responsibility as far as lives are concerned. So he is telling us that he knows that William Samoei Ruto lies. And he's also telling us he's not going to support or take responsibility, that is collective responsibility, on taking the public for fools. And by the way, when you look at it, Kenya Kwanza has been taking us like fools. Derek Muladia, Mirema Springs, hapa Roysambu to collect. Karibuni sana, karibuni sana. So when you look at it, David D is dissociating himself with Kenya Kwanza government. Anasema, anatuambia vizuri sana that William Samoei Ruto is taking Kenyans for fools. William Samoei Ruto has been lying to Kenyans, because where do we expect the collective responsibility to be taken? It is in the cabinet. And by the way, David D attending the cabinet meetings. Who anaenda pale? Geoffrey Oyapi, Skyman. You can blame D because Ruto loves incompetent people. Look at his cabinet. The likes of many leaders there to be what was strong word different. That's why Didmas Barasa ametoroka for the Kenya. So what we are saying here, as Jeff is telling us here, William Samoei Ruto is very keen and loves having people who are very incompetent. And by the way, this is very much deliberate, if you ask me, because somebody who is inadequate, somebody who is insecure, lazima atatafuta watu ambao who cannot oppose him. When you look at David D like now, I expect David D to be shown the door anytime, because if this is what he's telling William Samoei Ruto, that he will not take responsibility of his lies, of taking people for fools, and again corruption. So David D is telling us that the government is hopelessly corrupt. That is the message that is passing to us. That Kenya Kwanza, where I am the advisor, economic advisor of the President of the Republic of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto, is very corrupt. That is the message that David D is telling us. And he is trying to dissociate himself with the cryptocracy that is happening in Kenya Kwanza, kwa sababu hii serikali ukitazama vizuri sana ni serikali ya kuiba. In fact, they are borrowing to steal. Guys, welcome. Paulo, Dulo, God is near to all Kenyans. All should remember, karibu, karibu. Guys, remember to comment, remember to like our video and register your presence. You can see we are increasing. The number is increasing. David D also saying that he is not going to take responsibility on vomiting on people's shoes. So those readers who will be vomiting on people's shoes, David D msimuhesabu pale, hivyo ndivyo nasema. So what is David D saying in a nutshell? Peter and Kay, karibu sana. Like our video and comment. Peter, what do you think David D is telling us? That he's not going to take responsibility on lies and taking people for fools, corruption, and vomiting on public shoes. What do you think he's saying, and who do you think he's addressing? Because if you ask me, David D was addressing William Samoei Ruto. He was addressing Kenya Kwanza administration. He was addressing William Samoei Ruto's administration. And he's telling Kenyans the kind of government that we have. He was telling Kenyans the kind of leadership that we have. This is a disapproval, if you ask me. This is telling Kenyans that you're on your own. This is telling Kenyans, Marizo. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? You can comment. And by the way, for those who are joining us here, we had a fundraising in my other video of Flora Wajiko. And maybe you can look at my other channel, Flora Wajiko admitted in Saudi Arabia, akiwa mgonjwa sana, I think stroke. Alikuwa ameajiriwa na Mwarabu pale. Unajua Waarabu vile walivyo Saudi Arabia. She was abandoned in hospital. So we are trying to raise some money and people were sending money to my number, and we had released some money, and we had the list I had gotten and sent to the relatives, and I'm in touch of people who are actually there on the ground in that hospital in Saudi Arabia. For those of you who comes from Saudi Arabia, or those of you who are in Saudi Arabia, maybe you can check that video. You have put a photo there, even put a video file in hospital in the doctor's hand. Please send the money to this number 0725 909 870. I repeat, that is my number, by the way. Mkituma pesa nitamtumia 0725 909 870. Kindly feel free to support this lady. And she comes from Ranga, and she has a class 8 kid who is supposed to join Form 1, and she's traumatized. The family is traumatized. Na ni familia ambao hawana pesa, tuseme ukweli, hawana pesa, and I'm just trying to assist them to see what we can do. So far we have raised less than 20,000, and hata kama ni 100 tunakubali. Just send the little you can from wherever you are. This is Crisis Command TV, the Tourist Man Black Africa, and let us go back to our usual topics. And the other thing that Kenyans need to know, we should be asking this question. You know, kuna hizi nyumba ambazo zinajengwa na William Samoei Ruto. Kuna hizi nyumba zinajengwa na William Samoei Ruto. Kuna hii kodi ambayo watu wanalipa. Watu wanalipa kodi. Yani the housing levy. Because William Samoei Ruto raided the pay slips of all workers. In fact, civil servants and even the security guys, their pay slips were raided by William Samoei Ruto. I think they pay quite some money. Is it 3% or 5%? Something like that. So what is happening now? I said hizi nyumba mnafikiri zitapewa nani? Unafikiri who is going to benefit? That's the first question that we should ask ourselves. Because according to me, because it's a government of shareholders, the shareholders, kama vile Gachagua alikuwa anasema, watapewa hizi nyumba kwanza. That is my take, ladies and gentlemen. And so far, if I may ask you, ladies and gentlemen, why is the government not very keen? The government is not telling us how much money it has collected so far. Wamechangisha pesa gapi? Wafanyikazi wametoa pesa gapi? Makampuni yametoa pesa gapi? Ladies and gentlemen, Derek Muladi, Kitui tulipewa 1 kilometer. We donated back to Elgeyo Marakwet. Na wachukue, by the way, you know, this is a big joke, by the way. Hii serikali ni mchezo kabisa. Ni mchezo, inawachezea wananchi kabisa. And they don't care, by the way, because it is very ridiculous to give tarmac a length of 0.3 kilometers and 1.8 kilometers. You can imagine 300 meters at ndio mnaweka rami. You can imagine it like Kisumu is just a bridge, and so many counties have been left out. Zero coverage of the tarmac for a whole financial year. Yet here hii ni serikali ambayo is supposed to have a fair distribution of resources. So what we are saying here, hizi nyumba ambazo zinajengwa, which criteria will be used to allocate houses? To let's assume it is the hustlers who will get the houses. Which criteria will be used? How much money has the government collected? And if you ask me, the government has a lot of interest in these houses. When you look at the way William Samoei Ruto is taking this agenda of the housing, kwa sababu ukizungumzia jambo lolote lile, wanasimama na wanakuambia sasa, sijui nini tutajenga nyumba, sijui mtu wa stima atapata kazi, sijui plumber atapata kazi, mtu sijua mkono atapata kazi, mtu wa kujenga milango atapata kazi, sijui nini, the mason atapata kazi, fundi wa bao, hivyo. That's what he is saying. Is this a solution to the problems that we are facing in this country? It's not the solution. Just like they are telling us, when you talk, wanakwambia ati bei ya unga imeshuka. Now, what you don't know, what many Kenyans don't know, is that these are the same guys who are sponsoring promotions in certain supermarkets. Some of them that belongs to relatives. Shiro in Auckland, hello, karibu Shiro. Welcome to Gashi's Kaman TV, the tallest man in Black Africa, coming to you live. And Shiro, I know I've been watching your channel, and it's very interesting, by the way. Guys, you can subscribe to Shiro in Auckland. She has a very interesting channel there, and she tells us things about Auckland. So for those of you who are joining us, feel free. Remember, that lady, ambaye tulikuwa tunachagisha, is still in the hospital in Saudi Arabia, and you can actually see her in Saudi Arabia. Her name is Flora Wajiko, and if you watch my other video, my latest video that I uploaded in support of her, maybe you can see how you are going to support this lady who comes from Moranga. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we are doing here, we are looking at the current affairs, things that are happening currently in our country. Stephen Odhiambo, how are you? Mr. Tolman. Mr. Tolman is fine. Rajis Kaman is fine. I'm happy. It is raining a bit. Harun, what Ruto has so far achieved to unite Kenyans by making us poor. By the way, we are becoming poorer every day. But the bad thing is that serikali ipo. Yes, we have a government. You cannot deny that we don't have a government. But now the problem is that even when they are borrowing the money, because they are borrowing a lot of money, hatuoni vile ambavyo wanafanya. Because you cannot tell us that you are borrowing, because they are borrowed, I think 4 trillion now. By the time you'll be done by this financial year, William Samoei Ruto will have borrowed 4 trillion shilling. Remember, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta for 10 years was only able to borrow, I think, 10 trillion. But you can see, we can be able to tell Kenyans, these are the roads, these are the projects, and kuna mambo ambayo tunaweza tukaonyesha. But now the problem that we have with Kenya Kwanza administration is that they are letting us down. Now, that is why you see what is happening. And by the way, if you know how these houses will be allocated, you can share in this channel. Kuna watu ambao wako nje na wangetaka kununua hizi nyumba ambazo zinajengwa na serikali. Kwa sababu unajua serikali kama inajenga nyumba, 2-bedroom house, 3-bedroom house, bed sitters, you can still buy them, and it is good. But now there is fear that one, we don't know how much money has been contributed so far. Secondly, we don't know the method, the criteria that we use to allocate these houses. So Kenyans want to know. Kenyans are raising hard questions. Na tunataka kujua what is happening, ladies and gentlemen. The other issue that came up today is that William Samoei Ruto was set free by the ICC. So he has no case to answer. Yeye mweupe sasa kama paba. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? You know what had happened is that the case was still there, was still put at a pending. It was put in a pending mode, call it pending mode. And William Samoei Ruto was warned that in case there will be further evidence, the case would be revived. But now, today, the International Criminal Court, what it did is to say that he has no case to answer, and the case was permanently dropped. So he's scot free. Hope he has learned the lesson. Ladies and gentlemen, remember what happened in Kenya in 2007. Remember how we almost lost this country, and we shall forever be grateful to those people who came to rescue our great nation. Then there's this other issue of Ishongwa. You know, Ishongwa has been put there by Kenya Kwanza to respond to Azimio. He has been put there to respond to Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And today, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was under heavy and serious attack from Kimani Ichung'wah, both verbally and in the social media. Kwamba that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta does want to see William Samoei Ruto succeeding, that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is the cause of all problems that we are seeing. And you know, we cannot have a crybaby all the time, crying. kulia. Ati El Nino ikikuja, serikali inasema ni Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Wakishindwa kulipa madeni wanaanza kulaumu Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Wakishindwa kulipa mishahara kama vile tunaona wakati mwingine wanachelewa, wanaanza kulaumu Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. When the cost of fuel is now 217, wanalaumu Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Wazazi wakishindwa kulipa school fees wanalaumu Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Wakishindwa kulipa wakulima wa majani chai, coffee, pyrethrum, cotton, sugarcane, they blame Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So what is this, ladies and gentlemen? What do you think Kenya Kwanza is blaming Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta for everything? Kila kitu Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Wataendelea hivi mpaka lini? For those of you who are joining us, feel free to comment. Remember to like our video. This is Kashi's Kaman TV, the tallest man in Black Africa. Harun is saying, what Ruto has so far achieved to unite Kenyans by making us poor? Nothing. He has not achieved anything. Agostino Obaola, someone disappeared with a marking scheme on how to govern a country and the management of public finance. By the way, hii mambo ya uchumi imeshinda hii serikali. Wacha tuambiane ukweli. William Ruto is very good. He's a very good politician. But as far as the economy is concerned, he is very, very poor in the management of our economy. He doesn't get it right. And by the way, do you know that Kenya Power and Lighting Company is on the brink of collapse? According to the Auditor General, Gavogo, we are running that our Kenya Power and Lighting Company inaweza kuanguka wakati wowote. What will happen, ladies and gentlemen? And there are a number of reasons. Maybe I would wish that we discuss here. What do you think are the things that will make Kenya Power to collapse? It is on the brink of collapse. Tutafanya nini jameni? Because of late, one thing is very clear. Stima zimekuwa zikipotea, zinapotea. Mike Jones karibu, yes. Ishongwa is a crybaby, contrary to attacking President Uhuru, yet he will never in any way reach Uhuru's level. You are right. Geviwa Kamau, watching from Gabon, thank you. Botswana Kimeturaba, Bwana Skyman, jamaa ameuza mpaka KICC. By the way, so many parastatals have been sold, if you don't know. But it is this issue of KPLC that I want us to discuss, that it is collapsing. And I'm saying, I don't know from where you are, but from where I am, tumekuwa tukipimiwa stima kama dawa. Zinapimwa unaambiwa mpaka saizi, wakati mwingine zinapotea. Kuna wakati zinaweza potea hata mara 3 kwa siku. I don't know from where you are, whether you are experiencing this. So according to Gavogo, who is the Auditor General, there are a number of reasons why this Kenya Power is on the brink of collapse. And the first thing in my view is that the so-called independent power producers, and who are the minority, they are paid more than KenGen. Can you imagine? KenGen is producing 65% of the power that you consume and is getting that 5% of the revenue. But independent power producers, who are that 5%, are getting 65% of the revenue. What is that? Does it make any sense? And who are these independent power producers? Who are they? And by the way, who is the greatest shareholder of KPLC? Mnajua ni nani? Of late, maybe you can comment, because kuna mtu mmoja who is in Kenya Kwanza and very influential from Murang'a. This man owns Kenya Power. He owns Kenya Power Lighting Company. He has majority shares. And he has been buying millions and millions of shares. Thank you, Pan-African Nation. Ametuambia Dede Nyoro. Yeah, I think Dede Nyoro owns a lot of shares. And this is a company that is collapsing. Sasa, Kenya itakuwaje jameni? If we lose Kenya Power. If we lose Kenya Power and Lighting Company, Kenya itakuwaje jameni? And we are losing it because of the independent power producers. And this, if you ask me, these are cartels. We are losing it because of corruption. But I want you to look at this very keenly. I want you to look at this Ministry of Energy. From the top, the Wakamau. Yeah, they owns it. True. I want you to look at the Ministry of Energy. From the headquarters, that is headed by David City, all the way to EPRA, to Kengen, to KPLC. All these are managed, led by Kaliji. In fact, Wakaliji ni ambao wanaongoza this ministry. And how do you expect, ladies and gentlemen? Si kugura tu, wamegora, wanagora kila kitu. Tuwaambia watu wataenda mpaka mashambani kwenda kugoa migomba ya ndizi. They are so careless when they come to hii mambo ya kugura. Wanapenda sana kugura. They don't care. And what they are going to uproot, watangoa migomba ya ndizi. Hata miti ambayo inafanya nyumba isimame. Wamepora kila kitu. Wanapora na wajali. Wamekata miti, and by the way, these guys have cleared even some forests, if you don't know. They have cleared some forests. Even when they are telling us to plant trees, it's because they are being forced by the World Bank and IMF. What we can say here, ladies and gentlemen, is that this minister that is headed by the Kaliji nation is going to destroy this country. And the reason why they were given this minister, this is a ministry ambapo unapata kuna pesa nyingi sana. Joy is telling us we shall be auctioned as a nation. Energy ministry is managed by the people who will chew everything. By the way, these are the people who will not leave anything edible. They will eat anything found. They will eat anything. Ingawa tunasema fisi hawezi akala mtoto wake. Hawa ni watu ambao wanaweza kula hata watoto wao. Hawajali. In fact, the reason why these people are put in that ministry, the Ministry of Energy, is very, very lucrative. It has a lot of money. The Ministry of Energy is one of the ministries where we have a lot of cash flow. The Ministry of Energy, you can maybe, if you calculate the amount of money that is paid, the bills that are paid every day, the tokens that we buy every day, and this is, you realize, despite this fact, despite selling us electricity at exorbitant fees, one thing that has been happening is that this company has been making loss after loss after loss after loss, and they don't even give us, they don't tell us the bills ati hapo unalipa. Unajua hapo beleni walikuwa wanatuonyesha kila kitu. Ati this is a forex exchange, this is a what unalipia hii, what depreciation. Today inflation, tulikuwa tunaonyesha hata inflation. Today you don't see anything. You don't see anything, ladies and gentlemen. So whatever they have been doing it deliberately because they have been looting. This government is here to loot. This government is here to steal our money. This government is here to borrow and steal and enrich themselves. Today, these people are buying houses in Dubai. They are buying houses in United Kingdom. They are buying houses in Uganda. They are buying a house in Rwanda. They are buying houses everywhere. They don't care. Some of mwingine mlisikia anavaa a belt that is worth $500,000. Can you imagine? Because it's 450,000. Mshipi worth 450 million, no 450,000. Angalia zile saa ambazo wanafuga kwa mikono yao. A watch that is worth 5 million. They wear designers shoes. And that is why here David D amekasirika. David D ndio naona anakasirika, nawaambia kwamba he's not going to take collective responsibility on lies, taking people for force, corruption, and vomiting on our shoes. He is getting irritated, by the way. But then there are some guys, okay, they may be incompetent, but they don't steal. But there are others who will steal anything. Pan-African nation, someone said that Ruto particularly hired for a certain kind of experience. Rabia cough, corruption. Yeah, that's kind of experience, by the way. That's why I'm saying, Pan-African, that there are some people, they are incompetent, but they cannot steal. They don't steal. There are others, they are competent, and they also don't steal. Kwa sababu unafikiri kama ni Martha Karua angekuwa pale. No, Martha Karua has never stolen anything. That's the beauty of Martha Karua. Even when she was the minister in Kibaki's government, nasikia kuna watu ambao walikuwa wanamuita the poor lady from Kirinyaga because she is humble, she doesn't want anybody's money, she is satisfied with the little that she has. Kwa sababu unajua Martha Karua kama angekuwa anataka pesa, unafikiri angekuwa na pesa gapi? Kama ni pesa za wizi, angekuwa na pesa nyingi sana. But she has been in government, she has not been stealing. So what we are saying, these parastatals zitaenda zote. I hear even KICC, Kenya International Convention Center, nasikia hata hiyo inaenda. Somebody is telling us here, which is true, KCC, hata hiyo inaenda. Hakuna kitu kinasazo, wanauza kila kitu. Wanauza kila kitu. These guys can even sell our forest. They can sell, because I understand there are others who are already constructing hotels in public land. As we talk, there are some who are actually constructing hotels on public land. Now, hawajali, and then they are telling us to tighten our belts when we don't even have belts. We don't have belts. Hatuna cha kufuga jameni, hatuna hiyo mishipi, hatuna. Yet these guys are there and they don't care. They don't care for anything. God's favor, hii Kenya itauzwa tu tukiangalia. Ni kweli. God's favor, hii itaenda. Margaret Akola, I will never stop praying. They will not escape the wrath of God. God is alive, and, well, they try to cheat God, but he sees and knows. Never give up. God will save our nation. That is what we would want, Margaret. And I know in the fullness of time, Kenya Kwanza will be very much embarrassed. I know in the fullness of time, Azimio will have the last laugh. And now that they agreed, by the way, they agreed to have independent audit of the 2022 general elections. And Azimio is going to appoint a firm, an independent firm. And Kenya Kwanza is also going to appoint an independent firm. And the two firms will come together and try to audit the results. Let's see what is going to happen, because it will be very, very interesting. Mahabud Abdullahi, by the time Ruto is going to retire, Kenya will be complete economic shutdown. Yeah, it is possible, as you say, Mahabub Abdullahi. Already we are in a mess. We are in a great mess and we are in a great problem. But what I can see is that William Samoei Ruto, by the time he is done, if he'll be lucky, because I strongly believe that he'll be one-term president. I don't see him winning the second term. But unajua hayawi huwa na umdhanie DSC. What we can say is that he is likely to be richer than Kenya. Because currently, William Samoei Ruto is among the richest presidents in Africa. He is among the richest presidents in Africa. He owns a lot of properties, real estates everywhere, buildings, skyscrapers, foreign homes. Ako na mali nyingi sana. And he's not alone. Hao wote ambao unaona katika serikali ni watu ambao wana mali nyingi sana. Kenya should not expect anything from Ruto since he is competing with the Kenyattas. Najua Kenyatta wako pale, hii familia iko na pesa. The Kenyattas have a lot of money. Have a lot of money because you remember those people who accumulated wealth during the early years of independence walichukua mali nyingi sana. They have huge tracts of land, a lot of properties. Na ukitazama vizuri sana utaona kwamba ni vigumu sana kuwakaribia hawa watu. And then remember, Kenyatta was president for 14 or 15 years, from 1963 to 1978. Uhuru uongeza miaka tena yake 10. You see, these people have been in power for so long, and they have businesses all over the world. They have businesses in UK, they have businesses in Kenya, all over Africa and East Africa. By the way, Kenyattas could be the richest family in East Africa. Vile ambavyo mimi huwa naona, huenda ikawa wako na pesa nyingi sana. Stephen Odhiambo, he is already richer than Kenya. Githi wa Kamau, he said once, seek ye the first the government, then sort out the issues. That was a red flag. By the way, I remember what he said. Ati, nyenye mnasema mko na shida na Wakikuyu. Hamuko na shida kama sisi Wakalenjin. Lakini mtu kwanza anataka kuchukua serikali, ndio hiyo serikali imsaidia kutatua haya matatizo. Now look at it. He is doing it. He is richer than Kenyans. Ametatua matatizo yake. Because for now, unafikiri kuna mtu anaweza kwenda pale nini? Ile hoteli yake. Do you think there is anybody who can tell him to move out of Western Hotel? Because already the Kenya Aviation Association wamewahi kujaribu kwenda pale mahakamani, lakini hakuna lolote ambalo wanaweza fanya. They cannot do anything to him. Now, let's move to another issue. This report by the National Dialogue. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Because according to me, Martha Karua already has said that she is not going to append her signature. She is not going to support anything that does not support lowering the cost of living. Margaret Akola is saying, but when Kenya goes down, he will go down with it. That's the sad thing about it. Because if this country fails, sote tutaanguka na nchi. So we would wish this country to succeed. And that's why people are worried when William Samoei Ruto is messing up with this country. Margaret Akola. The sad reality, you don't leave this world with anything. Nobody can be buried with his properties. It's very sad. And that is something that many people don't understand. What is the need of leaving people crying? What is the need of even messing a whole generation for the sake of wealth? Haina haja. Baada hii dunia ukitosheka, utosheke kabisa, ukule vizuri, it is okay. Hakuna mambo mengine. So we are in this report of the National Dialogue that was handed over to William Samoei Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. And my question is, what do you say about this? Because when you look at it, Martha Karua already has rejected this report, and she has said she is not going to append her signature. Wamalwa, Eugene, again, does not support it. Raila said he has not read the report. He is going to read it. After he reads the report, that is when he is going to decide on when he is going to talk about it. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? The question that many people are asking, is this report going to divide Azimio? Kwa sababu ukitazama vizuri sana utaona kwamba William Samoei Ruto embraced it and said they are going to implement everything. They are going to implement everything, kila kitu ambacho kiko pale. So what about Azimio? Can it divide Azimio? Is Azimio going to speak with one voice? Watasema nini? Wataongea, watakubaliana, watasema nini? Because if you ask me, they should listen to Raila Amolo Odinga. Whatever Raila is going to decide, they should agree with him. just like whatever William Samoei Ruto has decided. Kenya Kwanza will move with William Samoei Ruto. Because if you listen to Ishongo already is just already approving the report. But Kalonzo has not come out clear to tell us whether he support this report. Kwa sababu ukiangalia mengi pale ambayo yanazungumziwa pale, it has to do with politics. Creation of the post of the prime minister or the chief cabinet secretary, the creation of the position of the leader of the opposition and his two deputies. Then there is the issue of the senators, the Senate that will have a life of, can you imagine, Senate, 7 years instead of 5 years. That one I will not support, by the way. Hiyo ya miaka 7 wakifanya nini, by the way? In fact, ni heri wangesema miaka 4 like it is in the United States. Hata hii the life of parliament should be reduced, if you ask me. Sio atikwambia watu ati umeongeza ati Senate 7 years. Why? What for? What for? Wale tu pale wanakula pesa, they are not delivering. And by the way, sometimes I don't even understand the work of the Senate, because whatever they do, ile kazi ambayo wanafanya inaweza fanywa na bunge. It can be done by the National Assembly. This is wastage of money. Just like the women rep. What are they for? Wanasaidia nini jameni? Because they are there, they don't serve any purpose. The Senate, to me, does not serve any purpose. In fact, even the number of members of parliament should be reduced. If you ask me, every county should have just 2 members of parliament, no matter the size of the county. Hata mmoja anatosha. Hata mmoja anatosha jameni. Mradi CS Linturi ameshtuka kuona appointment made by Kalenjin Cartels without his knowledge, yet he is the CS of agriculture. This is what we want about. By the way, this is what is happening. What is happening is that the controller of State House is making appointments. Anaajiri watu kazi, parastatal, ministry. By the way, this is what is happening even in employments. How many times have we seen TSC forms being distributed like pyramid, and then mkaajiri watu, zinarushwa? You know, that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. That we don't have order in the government. We don't. Kwa sababu what is happening, it is William Samoei Ruto micromanaging kila kitu. Mawaziri ukiwaangalia wao wanainamisha vichwa kwa aibu kwa soni. They have no faces. Trish Sharif, good evening, Skyman. I finally found you live stream. Welcome, and feel free to like our video. And thank you for joining us. And here we are discussing current issues. So what we are having is a president who is using the controller of State House to micromanage the ministries. Na ndio sababu uliona hata yule Alice Muthoni Wahome, the former member of parliament of Okadara, who is now CS land, ndio uliona wakikosa kutoelewana na yule katibu mkuu wa wizara ya maji, because he was working with his fellow Kalenjin, Zabulon Onyango. He is hanging on that accumulated money. It will be used to sway the masses in 2027. Wakenya ni wale. How I wish Kenyans can be able to start with their principles. You start with what you believe is good. Instead of sasa ati watu wanakuja wanarushiwa pesa na ni zile pesa ambazo zimeibwa kwetu. That's the worst thing about it. That they steal our money, they steal our taxes, they steal everything, and even after stealing our money, what they do, they use the same money to bribe and steal elections. Because I strongly believe, were it not for corruption, Kenya Kwanza would not be the leading party, would not be the leading coalition in this government. And in fact, if Raila was corrupt, he could have been the president of this country long time ago. If Raila wanted to be the president of this country, he could have been the president of this country. But because he does not like corruption, hapendi corruption yeye, hapendi, huo ni ukweli wa mambo. Kwamba hata alisema yeye mwenyewe during the election, before the elections were announced, he was saying that Wafula Chebukati went to his house. Unafikiri alikuwa anaenda kufanya nini pale? Wafula Chebukati definitely was not going to take tea. He was not going to greet Raila Amolo Odinga. There must be a reason why he was going there. Unafikiri alikuwa anaenda kufanya nini pale? Kuna kitu, kuna sababu. And I wish Raila can come out open and tell us what Wafula Chebukati wanted in his house, if at all it is true. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? So that issue of the report, do you think is going to divide Azimio? Because Azimio supporters are getting jittery. Wanauliza maswali mengi, wanasema Martha Karua amekataa, Eugene Wamalwa amekataa hiyo ripoti, Kalonzo hajatoa msimamo wake dhahiri shahiri, Raila hajaongea kuhusu msimamo wake, but Raila said he's going to comment about it after reading it and analyzing it. It's not, it's not just a matter of reading, to go beyond reading. It involves analyzing each and every clause. So what do you think? Should Azimio reject this report? Should Azimio accept the leader of the opposition? Should Azimio call for maandamano? And do you think Kenyans will go for maandamano? Money cannot buy life or air. Shame on this person. It is true, Margaret. Money cannot even buy happiness. There's the good things, by the way, all the good things cannot be bought by money. With money, that is. Pesa haziwezi kununua kitu. They can buy a house, but they cannot buy a home. They can buy mambo mengi. They cannot even buy personality. They cannot buy so many good things. They cannot buy life. You cannot even extend your life for a second. So pesa ni za muda tu, za kufanya tu uishi vizuri, ulale vizuri. Lakini when you use money to steal an election, that's where the problem is. So if you ask me, this report by the National Dialogue Committee should be rejected in total. If you ask me, Raila should reject this report. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? What do you think? Because if you ask me, he should reject this. And by the way, those of you who are joining us, we had a fundraising for Flora Wajiko, who is currently hospitalized in Saudi Arabia. Unaona wasichana wanaenda kule Saudi Arabia. Kaenda kule kumfanyia Mwarabu kazi. Kafanya kazi vizuri sana. All of a sudden, stroke ikamgonga. Kuogwa na stroke, Flora katupa hospitalini na Mwarabu. The bill is accumulating, and the bill I understand is huge. It's 0.8. So we are trying to raise some money to help this lady come out of hospital. And we are using my number. We have collected slightly less than 20K EV. And the family is happy for those who are contributing. Just give the little you can, 100 bob, 50 bob. Anything is acceptable. I'm using the number 0725 909 870. 0725 909 870. And you can visit one of the videos that is uploaded about her, and her photo, her video is there in hospital, her photo is there, and my appeal is there. So guys, you can actually support that lady. I was very, very touched when the relatives called me. She comes from Ranga, has a class 8 kid boy who is actually joining Form 1, and she's paralyzed. She is totally paralyzed. So the family would like her to come here because the bills zinaingia pale. Abdullahi JM wa Kenya ni wajiga, wakipewa shilingi 200 watachagua tu. Utaona Wakikuyu na Wakale. Ni kweli. Odhiambo, where are the so-called diaspora Affairs Ministry wako tu pale, lakini sasa unajua pale Steve, the ministry, the government cannot pay for these people. We have referred them to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Pale nothing is forthcoming, and the bad thing about that lady is that hakuwa ameenda pale na kampuni yote, no agent, no insurance, no nothing. Alikuwa ameenda kivyake, and that's the funny thing about it. So when you see William Samoei Ruto telling Kenyans to go and work in Saudi Arabia, that is the kind of life they will be subjected to. Ndio unafanya kazi vizuri, and by the way, I'm happy because there are some people who are in this channel and they have managed to go and see that lady. I think 3 of them were in. Today I talked to 2 of them. Now we're talking to them through WhatsApp video call that could not monitor to hospital, and I was happy that what we are doing is something good. The problem now is the bill in a pada kupada, and I don't know what they are going to do, because me, I'm just trying to assist them. I'm in touch with her sister and her mother, because they're the one who appealed to me, and something is going to be done between now and tomorrow. Please send me something, and I will be very, very grateful to support this family. You know, sometimes it's also good to help, and many people use this channel, by the way, when they have problems. It's only that we don't come to you. Sometimes we reject, we refuse most of the things, but sometimes you may hear the cry. Hata wewe unaona kweli, but that is it. So, ladies and gentlemen, something else that I want us to discuss as we wind up is that when you look at State House, there's a problem in State House. There's a serious problem in State House. Kwamba ukitazama mawaziri wetu, look at the cabinet ministers, cabinet secretaries, wakiwa pamoja, and I would like you to look at the photos, wherever you get them. These guys are not happy. These guys, when you look at them, they are stressed. So much stressed, ukiwatazama vizuri. When you look at them, they are not happy. They are angry. They are tongue-tied. When you look at them, you see these are people who are not happy working with William Samoei Ruto. When you look at Kibaki's cabinet, the guys are jovial, very happy. When you look at Uhuru's cabinet, uliwaona wakicheka wote. Ukiona pale Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta making jokes with them, wakifurahi sana, wakicheka pamoja. But when you look at this cabinet, it tells you that things are not going on as they should. And by the way, it is expected that William Samoei Ruto is going to shuffle his cabinet the last week of November, that is this week or next week, or the first week of December. He's going to shuffle his cabinet. And maybe that is why these people are not happy. Munene unatuambia nini? My mother used to tell us that you cannot give a hyena twice. It is true. That's a Kikuyu saying. In Kikuyu, hit the hair carry. Kikuyu gave these people twice after they had seen what Moi did to us. Yeah, najua sasa hawa watu wameumia jameni. Wacha niwaambie ukweli. Ukienda Gikoba, and for those of you who work in Gikoba and you are here, or you'll be watching this video, you can tell us the actual experience in Gikoba. For those of you who are in Nyamakema, tell us. Those of you who are in Kamukoji, those of you who are in Grogon, tell us. River Road, tuambieni yale ambayo mnapitia, kwa sababu maisha ni mabaya sana. Biashara zimekuwa gumu sana. Jambo la kwanza unafungua, ndio mtu wa KRA hapa anakwambia lipa kodi. Biashara hakuna. Biashara zinafungwa kila uchao. That is our country, ladies and gentlemen. We are losing our country. And unless something drastic happens, we are going to lose this country. And it is the high time all of us come together, unite, and tell William Samoei Ruto that you are leading this country in the wrong direction. Sometimes it is good to stand with your country, stand for your country. Na mmeona vizuri sana vile mawaziri wanafanyiwa. Mliona vile David City alifanyiwa? He was bold, he was second. Mukome alikuwa kule tena Barigo, he was bold, jeered. And now they are trying to tell people that the ground is friendly. Mambo ni mabaya sana kama ninavyojua. You hide behind the church and the name of God and expect to get away with it. Ruto is being stripped of naked in front of people. He tricked. That is what is happening, by the way. So hawa watu ukiangalia utaona kwamba wanakataliwa. The voters are rejecting them. Like now in Mount Kenya, hawakuji jameni, hawakuji. Hapo beleni ungeona mbunge, ungemuona hata mara mbili katika eneo bunge lake. Even in Arabes, they are sending their PAs, their personal assistants. Hawakuji, wanaogopa. I want you to keep a very keen eye, ladies and gentlemen, to these people anytime they visit their constituencies. And one thing that you notice is that the ground is very slippery. Very, very slippery. Hata hiyo Mount Kenya mnasema, I think water is deepest where it is still. Ukiona pale maji yamenyamaza pale, sababu hawa watu wakikuja pale, because when you look at it, unajua hapo beleni ungeona watu wakifurahia nini wakipiga makofi. Niliwaambia Ruto kunywa maji hivi, watu wa UDA walikuwa wanashangilia. Akunywa maji tu walikuwa wanashangilia. Today the crowd is very indifferent. People are very indifferent with him. They are not concerned. And I want you, ladies and gentlemen, to keep an eye on Mount Kenya and see what is going to happen. Because when you look at the ground is not friendly. Na ndio sababu unaona wanakaa bali. Hata William Samoei Ruto is not going to come soon, anytime soon in the mountain. Na kama atakuja, you come with higher crowds. I don't know what you think, ladies and gentlemen. I want us to end this show here. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you for commenting, liking this video, and I'm going to put my number there after I upload this video, such that you can actually send something. I'm expecting you to send something, support this lady, because I'm not appeal to our fans tomorrow. I want to end this thing today, and may you have a blessed day. Till next time, bye bye.